Hard times. Webinar, Fitter, Healthier and Happier. Hard times are sometimes a blessing in disguise. We do have to suffer, but in the end, it makes us strong, better, and wise. If you observe carefully, we realize that this pandemic situation is also very stressful for our children. We talk a lot about stress of parents and remote workers these days. At the first glance, one might have thought that our children would be comfortable with lockdown and they would experience lockdown as a vacation. Yippee, no school today. However, it is not the real case. So today, we are going to cover this issue of physical and mental stress faced by our children in these COVID days and what can be done for it. My greetings to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to be anchoring today's webinar on good mental and physical health for our students. I welcome our principal ma'am, Ms. Seema Malik, to the show. You are a source of inspiration to all of us, ma'am, a true leader who commands respect from one and all. We are fortunate to have our guest speaker, Dr. Kanika Sood, and she needs no introduction. Dr. Kanika, I also extend my warm welcome to our parents and students, and I hope that your participation here will be very fruitful. Dr. Kanika Sood is presently appointed as Clinical Lead and Director, Radiation Oncology at Dharamshila Narayana Hospital and has a total experience of 18 plus years. She also has keen interest in co-curricular activities and has been an active health awareness campaigner, motivational speaker, and even as a groomer for beauty pageants. Wow, that's very nice. Very bright, right from the beginning. She is a gold medalist from the Himachal Pradesh University for her first position in MBBS and has also received Medical Excellence Award from IMA East Delhi in 2016. She has numerous publications also to her credit in international peer-reviewed journals and has authored many chapters in radiation oncology textbook. May I request our principal ma'am to welcome Dr. Kanika Sood and invite her to take over the session. Later, we will have the question answer round where students can put their queries in the chat box. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ranjana. Very good afternoon to you, Dr. Kanika Sood. Once again, welcome you to the school. And we are particularly happy this year because you have also joined our managing committee. That means you are always there for us, to guide us, to help us out, to support us in our various endeavors. And Dr. Kanika, it doesn't need any more preface or introduction for all of us to understand that what kind of time you're all going through. Our parents, our families, our children, students, everywhere across the society, and shall we say across the world, are going through one of the most tumultuous times of their life. And perhaps this is never going to happen again, but we do not know. It's an unprecedented incident and event. And I'm sure that we will find some strategies to be able to tide over this crisis also. In one of the webinars earlier last year, I suggested so many things which are so doable, which are so easy for us to perform, but a pity really that even we forget those little things which can help us stay safe, stay fitter, stay healthier. And Dr. Kanika, without much ado, I'd like to open the webinar with your discussion to tell us what we can be doing for our students, families, and the community in this time.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we all haven't seen any worst time in our lifetime. I think even our seniors in the house haven't seen times like such where you have so much of uncertainty. You really don't know what lies ahead, I think. And our children, unfortunately, are getting the spill of that uncertainty. Our body language tells them that there is something wrong. So I see as a, as a parent that we have a lot of mental issues going into our children because parents are disturbed. So it is not by the virtue of the fact that children are not getting to meet other people. The parents are also spreading that environmental effect onto the children. So before I take the talk, I have a disclosure that I am not a psychologist and I'm not a pediatrician also. Whatever I share with you today, particularly, are my own lessons in this 1.5 year and what we have learned as doctors in interaction with our people around. And I think these would be small tips. There are some which are the ones which I have learned with the harsh way, my own self. So I have a small presentation through which I will be able to just convey what actually I want to send across to our kids this year, as well as the parents. So we have to live with this pandemic. First of all, we need to understand that we don't know when it's going to end and it's here to stay. So I know the uncertainty lies in this context also, that till when are we going to have this lifestyle? So we don't have a choice. We have to live with this era. We can only adapt. And adaptation is the only way of tiding over such situations. So we really have to adapt. And I think that mechanism is inbuilt into us. God has given that power. We just need to understand our strengths. Children, as we know, are totally in their growth phase in the school time. There are so many things which they are learning around them. They are getting worldly wise. They understand the importance of relations, peers, seniors, juniors. So when pandemics like this happen, there is a potential risk that our children's development may hamper. First of all, we are fearing the risk of disease. We are trying to protect them from this particular disease. And in that protection, we are also letting them to go into an isolation. This is increasing their stress. Then, as I talked to you earlier, the parents' stress goes on to spill on to the children. So these adverse childhood experiences are known to create toxic stressors, which detrimentally affect the brain development of these children. And these children, they would not become good working capacity adults if they are scarred. If these mental traumas, this post-stress events do not go out of their brain, it is going to affect their cognition, mental health, as well as physical health. So it is of prime importance that we understand what we should be doing so that our children don't come out with the painful scars of this pandemic when they go back to their normalcy. So what are these factors? I think I am not speaking of anything new. We all know what are these factors. There is isolation. Kids love kids. They want to play. They want to go to the parks. Schools are shut down. They totally are cut off from their peers. There are children who are single children. They really don't have any one of their age to talk to. They're just talking and interacting to adults. So there is an isolation. There is a reduced social life. They used to look forward to go to birthday parties, to go to some parks, to some recreational centers. They are unable to go. Physical activity automatically goes down. The routine totally has gone haywire. So because since the routine has gone haywire, your sleep patterns are disturbed. And there are a lot of disharmonies. We don't talk about it, but we are not used to staying with each other for that long. We all had that fixed time. Everybody leaves to work in the morning, had their day, come back in the evening, and spend a good amount of time in the afternoon and look forward to the next day. Now we are there all the time. There are some people who are working from home. They're all the time. So our tolerance levels to each other have gone down. The initial 1-2 months of lockdown were enjoyable. It was like a holiday. But over 1.5 years, there has been, people get into more arguments. There is intolerance. There are women who feel that probably for the last 1.5 years, they're working so much that their stresses have doubled. Their work has doubled. They're doing work from home as well as they're taking care of the household. That again goes and spills to the children. Excessive screen use. This was something we were worried before the pandemic also, but now we have no choice. So there is an influence on health. We need to rationalize and judicially optimize this particular thing also. And diet, of course, because when you are at home, you tend to eat more because there's nothing else to do much. So that again influences the health. But what we are worried is that at least in the adolescent and in slightly elder age, it also is influencing health in a manner that people are predisposed to substance abuse. There are fights between children, caretakers, domestic violence, and child abuse. So this is something because child does not get to go out of the house, child cannot report also that something is happening. So this is something which is to be taken care by addressing the mental health of the entire family, because it is not solely the child who is affected. Whenever you see an adult going home, he will carry the baggage of his entire day work. And the moment the child starts to, ask questions, you get irritated and you spill the day's frustration onto the child. That is a very, very normal phenomena. So this is something we need to cut down during the pandemic, because children have no venting out time now. So our children are fearing infections. They are facing also infections. The families have gone through the quarantines, the isolation, so they are shaken. They are socially disconnected. That is leading to depression, loneliness, and helplessness. Physical inactivity is adding to their ill health. And the children who are in 11th, 12th, they are having apprehensions of career opportunities. They are unable to go to their coachings. They had plans which they feel have totally derailed because of the pandemic. It is scientifically proven that children who were through the isolation and quarantine were 4 times more stressed than the children whose routine remained to be normal. This is a scientific study which was published early this year. So the stress, anxiety, and fear has added on to bring uncertainties in life. So what to do? So dear children, it is okay to feel negative. It is not bad that you're having bad thoughts, but you have to address them. So kya kare? What to do? So whenever you have a bad thought, first of all, you have to understand it's just a thought. It's not reality. Because when you overthink things, mujhe bhi ho jayega, meri family ko ho jayega, to kya hoga? What if it happens like this? What if it happens like that? When we create this environment, it starts to feel like a reality and you get into a depression. So first of all, you understand that you are getting these thoughts, which are just thoughts and they are not realities. Replace them with something which is more positive. Try to think of positive things, divert your attention. Whenever you have such thoughts, try to think of the brighter things. I'll just exemplify, when I treat patients, and in my particular field, patients have to lie down in a machine all alone with a mask on their body, and they are not able to see anybody. So I always tell them, think of the most beautiful moments of your life and just fall asleep. Don't think of disease, don't think of machines. So you have to divert your mind. That is the biggest way. We all had these bad phases. Doctors had such bad phases that it couldn't have been worse, but we all diverted our thoughts because we were to take care of people. If we get negative, we get depressed, how will we impart treatment to others? So diversion. So when you throw out the negative thoughts out of your body, you create space in your body for positive thoughts. So think positive. Share your feelings. If you're feeling negative, talk to someone. Talk to your mother, father, sister, brother, anybody. Mujhe aisa lagta hai. Do you think it's so? Once you speak out, sometimes the fear just goes. The other person will reassure you or clarify that no, your fears are unwarranted. Aisa nahi hai. So let it out. You can even write down. It's not a bad thing to express in writing. This diary which will come out after 1.5 years of your experiences, you can even publish it. So write what you feel. Give yourself time. If there is anger, frustration, just write it down, let it go out. People are having survivor guilt. There are people who lost family members. The other members have guilt that they went, why are we there? So you need to express out your emotions. Emotions kept inside always lead to depression. And count on your blessings. I think this is something when you used to go to school, you used to have an assembly. But still, I think take out 2 minutes of your time every day, sit down and thank God that you are fine, your family is fine, and count on your blessings. I remember that we used to have a prayer that thank you, Lord, for another day. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the moon. I think you have to be very, very thankful to all people around you as well as God that you are fine. So count on your blessing. This creates positivity. Live in the present. We always fear of things which might happen. At the same time, we also wait that we'll be happy when this will happen in our life. So we are always waiting for things to happen, but we have to make them happen in today. Focus on today. Today will be tomorrow. when you are on the previous day, and tomorrow it will become yesterday. So whatever you have to do is today. Focus on today. Your family is with you. You have good food. You have everything. So you have to be happy with whatever you have in your hand. Happiness is all in our brain. The endpoints of happiness are all within us. We decide what makes us happy. So focus on what you have and stay healthy. And I'll be giving you tips on how to stay healthy and how to keep your mind and body fitter, even by staying in your house. Then involve yourself and evolve yourself. Involve yourself into things which keep you busy. Everyone says idle mind is a demon's workstation. So if you're not busy, you will always think of negative thoughts, or you will always be confronted with uncertainties. So involve yourself, get yourself busy. There are ample of things. This particular pandemic, people have learned so many skills. The online options, the self-skill teaching, people have learned embroidery, sketching, and whatnot, coding. I think so. And get something which adds to your profile and strengthen your spirituality also. Confront your fears. Don't ask yourself what will happen. Just short-term goals to be addressed. Talk of today. That today I will do this, this, this. So when you get happy by the end of the day, you were able to achieve these goals. Don't think, when will this go? Nobody knows. There are things where no answers exist. It will just bother you. So accept what is happening. We have to accept that this is happening to our country. This is happening to the world. We have to adjust ourselves. We have to move on. After this pandemic goes, we have to move on. So try to address your own issues by accepting the current situation and prepare schedules, because what happens is then there are no timelines. You don't have to wait for the school bus. You don't have the school bell ringing. So everything is too relaxed. You forget about everything and your endpoints never come. I think initially in the first 3 months of the pandemic, we could see that, finishing off your online homework was also a big task, because there was no, accountability in terms of time. There was no bell ringing. There was nobody to check your notebook the very next day. So because we were learning how to adapt to it, even online teaching module, we were in learning phase in the initial 1 month. But I think you have to prepare your schedules and still remain disciplined, because if you lose the discipline, coming back to the track after whenever the schools open is going to be difficult. Strengthen your relationships, make your bond stronger, because this particular pandemic has given us value of life and value of loved ones. So how to manage? See, last year also we all did it. We had the power, we had the tools. We all were able to come out, and our good months were pretty well. But we learned and then dislearn. The problem is that we come out of a big pandemic and then we forget about it. So we need to remind ourselves that this is what we did, this is how we do it, and we can still come back towards normalcy. So a small trick: every morning, just get up, place your right hand on your heart, and take three deep breaths and give an affirmation to yourself. I am fine, my family is fine, and thankful to God that everything is fine. And then look forward to the day you have planned in form of a schedule. Cut out all the negative thoughts. Don't just pick up the phone the first thing in the morning and look at how many people died yesterday or how many cases happened yesterday. Start your day with positive affirmations and positivity. Do not touch your phone for first 30 minutes of the day and the last 30 minutes before you go down to the bed. That will give you a good emotional health. Another thing I think which is known to all of us is that there is only one thing constant, and that is change. So we need to accept this change. Acceptance at our end to this change will solve 50% of our problems. So once you've accepted this is a change, it is sudden, unplanned change. There will be no specification till what time we are going to be out of school and in an online teaching module. So you set your schedules. You need to structure your day, that I will, for this particular week, this is my school schedule. You always have a time planner, but I want to do these many things by this week. Plan it out, just like a weekday or a weekend. If you plan it out, it is scientifically known your performance is better. You will still continue to do as good you were doing in your offline school module if you plan and discipline your curriculum yourself. See, there are no teachers sitting with you in your house, but you be your own monitor. And once you set your own protocols, your own timings, at least you will not miss on your academics, especially senior classes, because juniors I think still parents monitor, parents are checking what is happening. But for seniors, they are their own accountable people. So set schedules for yourself. Get adequate sleep. It's always said, have a child sleep. So if children don't sleep, then of course they will affect their mental health. Now what is happening, since there are no schedules, there are no timelines, the sleep has gone haywire. You're on your mobile, cell phones, tablets, and these stimulate your brain. Once your brain is being stimulated by these audio visuals, your sleep goes. When you sleep late, you get up late, you feel fatigued, you get irritated, you are more irritable, you will have headaches, you will have more fatigability by the end of the day. Your performance, your efficiency goes down. So if you want to reach your full potential in terms of your growth and also to add to your academic attributes, you should have a good amount of sleep. So it's just like your phone. Your phone needs to be charged. After a time, if you don't charge your phone, it discharges. Same is for your brain. If you do not give that hibernation or the sleep time to your brain, it will definitely have a detrimental effect. So set a schedule for yourself. Set a schedule for your bedtime and wake time, because if you will not do that, it will be very difficult to come back to the track when you will be coming back to your school modules. Maintain social contact. Social contact, human being is a social animal. So we need social contact. We need friends, family, people to talk to. So the only mode we have, definitely, we have telephone. And rather than texting, it is good to talk to your friends, because when you connect to your friends, you feel more happy, less anxious, and you have more fun. But I will also put a word of caution to the parents that you may not be like monitoring each and every interaction of your children, but at least have a sense of theme or the person your child is talking to or interacting on social media, because our children are also predisposed to cyber predators. This time, online modules, children are all the time on the screen. That also predisposes them to some strangers coming into their firewalls and sending them messages which they may perceive as their friends, or there may be some contacts they may feel. So children should also be open in sharing with their parents if they find some abnormal messages coming to them or some contacts whom they feel are not to their relatives or their friends. So this is also something one needs to be cautious about, because online is always riddled with the problems of hacking and cybercrime. Then leisure time. I think a lot of people are, worried about how to give children that leisure time at the cost of giving them quality time, but not increasing their screen time. So leisure time can be derived from books or many activities. I have just put a website here where there are so many thousands of activities enumerated which you can do at home without using the media, the social media, which can be done by simple things available at home. You do not even have to, order things to do those activities. You have to have those activities which involve you physically as well as mentally. They should not be just mental exercises. There should be some amount of physical activity around it. How much of screen time is important? I think that appropriateness, I have definitely put in a slide on what the American Association of Pediatrics says, but that appropriateness has to be defined by you. Each house has a different pattern of, structuring their household work and how children are engaging themselves. So those appropriateness you have to define. But whatever the children are observing, just see what they are seeing, because passive sedentary entertainment can make you dull. If you're just sitting at one place like a couch potato, you will gain weight and you will be affecting your health physically as well as mentally. So don't see those content which make your brain numb. If you're seeing a content, it should be enticing. It should stimulate you to also do something. It should make you do that particular activity on your own if you have seen. So this is what the American Academy of the Child and Adolescent Health says, that ideally the children below 1 year should not be seeing more than an hour of any device which is screen-based. Children between 2 to 5 years of age, again, an hour or so is sufficient, that too under parental monitoring or caregiver monitoring. Children between 5 and 18 years of age, it has to be tailored because they are doing their schooling on online mode. So you cannot totally cut down their screen time, but it is your own rule. As I said, find your own house rule, because whatever rule you make, it has to make it sure that the child gets at least 1 hour of physical activity and at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep if child is more than 10 years of age. If it's younger, even 10 hours of sleep, I think, would be encouraged, so that they are more alert in their classes for the next day, and they are more physically active also. So at least if your children are in online teaching modules, 4 to 6 hours should be the maximum time limit your child should be spending on the screen. Encourage them to do things from the books rather than on the screen all the time, because screen is also detrimental to your eyes. So this is a beautiful 20-20-20 rule which the American Academy of Ophthalmology has given to protect your eyes. So it holds true not even for children, I think for all of us, because even the adults are having a lot of screen time these days. So every 20 minutes, you should shift your focus, your eyes towards an object which is at least 20 feet away. So if you're in a room where there are windows, you can just look outside towards the trees or a distant building which is far off, because looking at the distant side relaxes your eyes. The accommodation comes back. So if you forget, at least you can put some reminders in your phone. If not 20 minutes, at least 30 minutes, put a reminder to relax your eyes. Another thing which I encourage, and I think I've done it since a child, is palming exercise. Palming exercise relaxes your eyes, particularly people like me who are myopes need to do this. All those who use spectacles should do palming, because it also ensures that the myopia, the power does not increase. So wash your hands with the cups of your hand. Just close your eyes and place it on your eyes and keep it there till the count of 20. That will relax your eyes. So if you are able to see a distant object at one time, then in the second time do the palming. That will relax your eyes. Even with a screen time which is exceeding 4 to 6 hours, I think if you are using these two things, your eyes will be slightly protected. And if you are a spectacle user, you should definitely talk to your optician that whether you can use a blue film over your spectacles, which further reduces the injury to your eyes, which these screens entail. Then create some buddy support group. I think most of the children have become so tech savvy nowadays that they themselves are able to create these groups. Create some support group, especially the children who have been bereaved need help. If there are children around who can formulate a group and in which they can go for some activities, like one child that day relates a story, picks up a book, tells the stories, other discuss about it, or maybe just have a small kitty discussion of what are your favorite TV shows, play some games, or even have small birthday celebrations. I think these are something children look forward to. These are something which will have more didactic interaction than just watching TV and watching shows solitarily at home. I think buddy support group is something which will really help our kids to still maintain their social contact, which they are losing, because the only social contact they have now are with adults. Improve your fitness. I think this is something which is really, really warranted, because this pandemic has reinforced what Charles Darwin said, that survival is for the fittest. It's a law of natural selection. Your parents give you certain genotypes, which makes your body in a certain fashion, but your environmental influences give you a phenotype. So unless you keep a good environment around yourself, work on your fitness, you will not be able to sustain such pandemics. So caregivers like us, we had a good test of time this year. Even we were pushed to the verge, but those who were still doing fitness regimens despite all this were the ones who were still able to face the atrocities of this pandemic. So as always said, I think a penny of prevention is better than pound of cure. So don't wait that if something happens, then I will, change my lifestyle. We have been fine. Nothing happened to us, so we will not do this. You have to make it sure that you are good enough, because if your health is not good, even the virus has a bad effect on it. The people who are fitter came out. People with less fitness struggled to come out of it. So keep yourself active. If you are active, at least 180 minutes of exercise in a week keeps you calmer. If you do some sort of a physical exercise, you will get tired, you will sleep also better. So people keep asking, we are in our houses, how can we stay fit? So believe me, there are innumerable physical activities which can be done at home. Even within the confines of 6 feet, you can do Zumba, you can do aerobics, you can dance, you can do yoga. There are so many activities. And for other mental activities, I think there are an array of activities. It is just your choice. You just have to pick up what you like. gardening has been so rewarding. It gives you such a good pleasure seeing those flowers bloom. At least if you cannot go out in your parks, the indoor plants are giving you some happiness. Grooming them, shaping them, and taking care of them gives you a sense of well-being. Board games, I see a lot of colleagues who say that we've played so much Ludo this time. I think you need to just identify the time. The importance is setting a schedule. If you find at least half an hour of that schedule where all the family can come together and at least play something together, it is again relaxing. Yoga, I think the International Yoga Day is coming next week. It is something which has really worked. The Ministry of Ayush set in a good guideline schedule during the COVID time for all people. If you can go to the site and download it, they have given beautiful set of exercises. You can do those in 10 minutes. Those who are very busy, who are lesser busy, there are 20-minute schedules, there are 30-minute schedules, and even 40-minute schedules. And yoga is something which is rejuvenating. It's not just an exercise, it's a way of life. It is something which fulfills you from all aspects, be it your physical, mental, your spiritual as well. So adopt yoga if you can, because it is easy to do. Other exercises, gymming, you cannot go. There are physical constraints to some people who cannot do very demanding exercise, but yoga has some set of exercises which are doable. So I think you can visit the site. There are good stretching exercises which take care of your entire body right from the head to toe. And I think your teachers have been teaching you also. I see many classes of yoga ongoing. Just follow them religiously. Don't just do on the day of the class. Keep a schedule for yourself every day. And these exercises for eye are also being advocated in yoga, which ensure that your visual acuity does not deteriorate despite the prolonged screen time. And these are the modules I was talking of. Ministry of Ayush has given. They are 10-minute ones, which include the exercises right from your stretching to your breathing exercises, because we all have understood in this pandemic that lungs are vital. If somebody is to fight COVID, the lungs health is something which is dictating what the outcome of disease will be. Those who have had good lung capacity have been able to pull out of this disease. So try to endorse this. I think if the entire family does together, it reinforces. Exercise needs reinforcement. If I decide today I want to exercise, I may, want to skip it second day, that, okay, today I'm tired. No, today is this. So I might find excuses to not do it. But if all family members are doing it together, then there's a nudge from at least some member to the other that, okay, even I'm doing it, just spend 5 minutes. So do it in a group. That reinforces that you will not miss on doing it. Yoga also helps for mental health. So this particular spiritual diary, I used it as a child, and I think I came back to it this year again. Just pick up a thought in a day. It's just an example of this diary. Just pick up any thought in a day and 10 minutes, close your eyes, just think about it. It is mentally relaxing, and that thought gives you a perspective. So you will want to do positive things. See, because there will be shadows, but those shadows will be behind you if you look towards the sun. So you need to see towards the positive element. Then comes the physical aspect. The other aspect which is happening is, initial days of pandemic, we all were getting so excited about the time we have in hand, and our baking skills, our cooking skills was like to the peak of its expertise. So we were eating a lot of fried food. And then added to that decreased physical activity, it added to obesity. Scientifically, it has been found in Delhi, particularly last year, there is a 49% increase in obesity in the children in this particular year. So what is the harm of it? So see, when you're eating packaged food, junk food, and a lot of lardacious food, it has detrimental effect on your growth as well as your developing brain. And obesity predisposes you to respiratory infections, and it decreases your immune response. There's an inflammatory response in the body which is poorer in the obese people. So obesity is bad, and Delhi is becoming the diabetes capital of the globe. So food has to be washed. So what to do? You should have a balance of protein, carbohydrate, fat, minerals, and vitamins. Hydrate yourself. At least have 2.5 to 3 liters of fluids. Try to eat seasonal fruits which have a lot of fiber. Especially children need calcium. Your growing bones, you have to gain height, and particularly you're not going out, your vitamin D resources are also going down. So you need a lot of poultry products into your diet. The dietary requirement per se is different for each age group. I think if you scroll around Google, you will be able to find that on average, the younger kids, the ones who are, the 9 to 13 years of age require on average 1400 to 2200 kilocalories every day, which should have proteins, fruits, vegetables, grains, and dairy. So as you see, at least 3 cups of dairy is what is recommended. So I think that is something which needs to be reinforced. So as per the age, the requirement changes, and definitely there is some difference in gender, but I think at home right now, the physical activity across all genders and age groups is almost minuscule. So this is what needs to be followed so as to achieve at least the targetable calories, and avoid certain things which are added sugar. Your carbonated drinks have added sugars, they add to obesity. And also avoid trans fats, because trans fats again contain which come from the animal sources, are also leading to the truncal obesity. Too much of sodium, too much of salt which comes from our junk foods is also detrimental to your health. So try to avoid these foods and have a good portion of fruits and vegetables. I think this is nothing new. This is something which should be done through the year, but now you need to balance it out in context to the amount of physical activity you're doing. And what about emotional diet? We talked about the food we eat, but there are a lot of thoughts we take inside our body. So you have to really check what you are taking inside your brain. So create a shield, first of all, that you do not need to take in all the information which is thrown at you. The SMSs, the WhatsApp, the social media, the news, they will bring in everything to your platter every day, but you don't have to eat it. You have to divert yourself from things which do not need attention, because thinking negative will create a negative vibe around you, and it will take your focus across your well-being, and you will feel that this pandemic has hit you very hard. It has hit everybody hard, there's no doubt about it, but the ones who were able to filter their thoughts and still think positive were the ones who are still, coming out bright despite facing the most adverse times. Try to become a support system, right? Like what you see at homes is that by and large, most of the household work mothers are doing, right? Each household is different. I won't say that everywhere this happens. There are families where parenting, decisions are taken combined. People are sharing their work. But by and large, it is somehow, the women folk are pushed towards the verge of most things. So try to delegate. This is for parents. I think if you involve your children into household, you will be also relaxed, and it will give them some opportunity to physically do something. So delegate, and children should also have that acceptance that yes, it's a different time. We also have to help our parents in household chores, because that gives that bonding. That bonding should not be one-sided. It has to be both-sided. The parents and children have to develop that bond, because somebody has to help the other. If it's like a team, you will fight it out. If otherwise, what will happen? There may be 4 family members, one person may come out totally demoralized out of this pandemic, and the other may just come out comfortably. So be a support system to all around you. Help out everybody in your family, because if something goes down in life, then there are your family and friends which make you go back to your original position. The pandemic hasn't been totally all bad. If you take the positives out of it, we started to value life. Many people had taken life for granted. मुझे कुछ नहीं होगा, हमें कुछ नहीं हो सकता. Like, we always believe that bad things happen to others, it cannot happen to us. But it made us value our life, our wellness, and also value our loved ones. There's a very interesting study. I was myself surprised to see that in a small study in American adults, they found that 68% of fathers felt closer to their children during this pandemic. Because fathers always are the, in 60%, 70% cases, the breadwinners were going out of the house and not getting a chance to interact with their children. But they felt closer. And what was the effect? They said the increased involvement of fathers with their kids strengthened their cognitive and emotional development. It also is likely to increase their academic and career success, because they gave their perspective to the children in a different fashion, which they were unable to do before this pandemic. So use this opportunity to bond, to learn from each other, and have gratitude for all those who are helping you out through this. Challenges are said to be gifts and opportunities to learn. So reinvent yourself. Try to learn new things. Like children, particularly the senior age group, they have lost their opportunities to go out for many vocational courses, but there is a scope to learn it in a lot of other ways. I think technology opened up gates for a lot of things. You just need to reinvent yourself and focus on what you are seeking amidst all this. You cannot start learning 10 things at a time. So try one thing which will maintain the balance of your screen time, your school time, as well as your household, and try to reinvent how you can use the skill you learned during this pandemic onto your life. So maybe when you go to your professional courses, these skills which you gained in this 1.5 years, they will add to your attributes, they will add to your credentials. So I think, as I previously also said, today will be yesterday tomorrow, and whatever are paper boats today will be ships tomorrow. So try to still dream big. We have the power. Today is the best day to work on what you can do. If we keep thinking about tomorrow in the sense that when will everything end, that answer nobody has. That uncertainty will add on more negativity in your mind. So think positive. I think we all are ready to face the fresh air. This all situation is temporary. We all know that. We don't know the duration of this temporarity, but when life is not so good, it will also not last forever. There will always be days which will be better. So thank you so much, and I will be happy to take questions. And over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kanika. It was really very good. A good piece of advice. You gave motivational talk to our students. You talked to them about the exercises they could do and how they could keep themselves fit, staying at home, taking care of their health, their diet, most important, and making schedules, which is very important, because most of the time we find children these days are, laid back. There's no reporting to school. There's no reporting to the teacher. So it's very good that you mentioned about making schedules for children and keeping contact socially with friends and talking to them is a very good idea, along with proper sleep. That's what you mentioned, that children these days are, into their mobiles for late hours. I see some of them right till 12, till 1, they're on with their mobile. So that's good if they have good sleep and put away these things. And so many things you talked about. Thank you so very much. I hope the children they will surely benefit from your talk and advice. So I have a few questions here for you, ma'am. I will start with a question from a student of 12th B. And he says, can we clean our body by observing fasting? Can we keep a fast and clean our body? And what is the correct method of fasting? He further says, people eat singare ka atta, sattu ki puri, and etc. Is it the correct way of fasting? So
I always say that we don't fast, we feast.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, so I think our ancient Vedas and our ancient scriptures very well accepted that the fact that fasting is good. And I think now our current science has also accepted the fact that fasting is definitely good. So there are researches going on in intermittent fasting. People are using intermittent fasting as a way to reduce their weight and also to increase endurance. So yes, fasting is good, but fasting has to be monitored. You cannot be fasting unmonitored. What fasting we do is more of a religious fasting. I think the fasting we practice are the ones which are attributed to certain religious methods. We eat as what has been described and what our seniors told. So I think that is not giving you the benefits of fasting as detoxification. If you are talking of detoxification, your fasting should include fruits and vegetables, fiber diet, and water. Because you are trying to reduce your trans fat, you're trying to reduce your sugar, you're trying to reduce the ludaceous element. So if you are seeking health benefit out of that fast, I think then at least do not eat fried elements. If it is religious, I think once in a while we all would enjoy these delicacies. I think once in a while nobody would want to miss out on savoring these delicacies. But for scientific reasons, I think.
Dr. Kanika, one thing I'd like to add here is that a lot of people take to fad diets. All kind of new diets keep coming, and they say if you take up this fad diet, you will lose this much of weight in this much of time. But I really want to tell all my students that it doesn't really help. The our traditional Indian thali khana, that is the roti, sabzi, dal, chawal, that was, and with some fruit. I think that is so much better rather than
and much lighter.
and
Much
much lighter.
Easy
Rather
to
than running
digest.
into one kind of diet now and then another kind of diet, giving up carbohydrates now or the fats later. But I find this very fashionable though, but doesn't really work. What does the doctor think about it?
I totally agree on it. I think I always endorse the traditional Indian thali as the best, and the West is looking towards us on what
Yes.
we eat. In Western countries, there are more colorectal cancers because they don't have fiber in their diet. So they always endorse that one should have fiber. Our diet has been perfect since ages. We have just distorted it over years. Talking of weight loss regimens, I think there also our traditions help. Our parents always used to tell us, eat well in time, eat early.
Yes.
And that is what intermittent fasting says. They say that eat by 7 p.m., then sleep early, sleep by 10 o'clock, and then get up in the morning and have a good sumptuous breakfast. So that was something which was endorsed. Now it is marketed in such a fashion that it becomes more appealing to the youngsters. Keto diet and whatnot.
Exactly.
Nothing helps unless you exercise. I will not be flaunting. I lost 10 kg in the last 1 year in the pandemic by totally working out and eating balance. It is always a balance of both. You cannot cut eating and not work out at all, because whatever you lose, you will gain it within a month.
Exactly. It has to be slow and steady. It has to be over a period of time, isn't it?
At the same time, if you exercise a lot and don't eat, your body does not get that sufficient protein. Your immunity goes down. You get fatigued. You will be frail, but that the aura on your face will go. You will be thin and lean, but you will look skimpy. But you will look as if you are from some Somalia nation. You don't want to look like that. So there has to be a balance of everything. And everything is doable. You have to set targets and achievable targets. Don't think that in a month I will lose 10 kg. It is always
gradual
and slow.
Gradual.
So it is good to have yourself within a BMI. Do not overdo it. Even round is a good figure. I would say round is also a shape. Everything is in shape. Every body is unique. So do not overdo things also. I know youngsters, it is appealing. You feel good when people say, oh, you're looking so nice when you're thin and lean. Every time thin and lean is not the order of the day. You should be healthy. Whatever weight you carry should be scientifically within the body mass index for your height. And it should give you good sustenance for your immunity also.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
And also, I think Ranjana will also agree as a mother, and Dr. Kanika, who has two lovely kids in our school, that a lot of us start having our breakfast straight from the packed boxes, cereals of all kinds, and all kind of Tetra packs,
cornflakes and things like that,
and juices instead of the freshly compressed juices, the Tetra pack juices. That is what I think, that the traditional Indian way of cooking is still as golden a rule today as it always was. It's just that we are running after a system which we have probably taken from the West, but it doesn't really work very well for us.
Yeah, exactly, ma'am. Very true. So my next question to Dr. Kanika is from a student of 10th C, Bhavya Goyal. She says, we being in a crucial grade to study, she meant class 10th, I think, where we need to focus and concentrate on our studies, especially every day because of the new grading system, which is, comprehensive and continuous. So how can we maintain an active lifestyle when either time, the pandemic or this pandemic time is full of constraints for us? So how she wants to know, how can we have an active lifestyle with so much to do and so much of syllabus with them, class 10.
I totally understand. See, going through that drill myself, I think medical education is considered as one of the most toughest exams to clear.
Yeah.
And final year MBBS is considered as one of the toughest exams on earth. That is, it is in the Guinness World Book of Records. But scheduling, I think that is the best thing you do. I remember creating a timetable for the week, then the timetable for the day, which had breaks. You always have to take break. I know you have to study, but to keep your mental fatigue going, you have to take a break. I'll just give you an example. I remember attending one of a conference where an international speaker came. We all were sitting in the hall. When his turn came, the moment he took a podium, he said, I want you all to get up. Please all rise in your chairs. He said, stretch your arms, clap your hands. He made us do that drill, and then he said, now sit down, because you were sitting here for hours. I think your brain will not accept what I wanted to teach you. So you need to stimulate your brain. So you need to take a gap. So put in some breaks. If you have done 40, 50 minutes of study, put a 10 minutes break or a 15 minutes break. During that break time, minuscule physical activity you can do. You may not do 1 hour of exercise at a stretch, but that 10 minutes also adds. I am a practitioner. I have an OPD. I know I need to walk. I need to do something. So we need to take a break. After some time, you need to get up from the chair. After an hour, you have to get up from the chair, take a stroll. Maybe whatever thing you could have done on your telephone, you go and give that message yourself, come back. So you need to resort to means to find areas for that activity. There can never be a possibility that you will not get 10 minutes break possibility for the day. I think your schedule
you can look
are
for
well
possibilities
crafted.
Look for possibilities of physical movement in between.
So
Yeah, exactly.
you can do yoga, you can do Zumba, you can dance. I think you can do anything for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which will give you all your physical resilience. So you just need to find that space. So create that module for yourself where you give yourself that time to do that physical activity. I think things will be slightly better when you early morning, when nobody's around, you can just go to take 2 rounds on your bicycle, or just, run around in your lobby. I made a very, very funny exercise. I keep telling people that during this pandemic, I invented a new exercise, and it is called Kolu Kavel. Take a stroll all around in the room. You can just move round and round in the room if you want. It is just a way to find it. So your household where you have the space, create some area where you can at least take a stroll. When you're with your friends on the phone, pick up the phone, don't sit and talk. Keep walking. Your exercise, automatically you've completed your walk. 15 minutes you're talking on phone, you will surely complete 3,500 steps. So find a way.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. You can utilize your time in talking also, and at the same time exercising also. So double the benefits there. Thank you so much. We have another question over here. A student from class 9 says, how to overcome negative approach in life and how to overcome overthinking. So maybe the child is too much into thinking setup. So he wants to come out of it. So how to overcome that?
See, it is, as I told you, your emotional diet. What comes to your platter? So if there is something which is being offered to you, you have to first of all create filters in your mind. This is not relevant to me. Something happened in Ahmedabad is not affecting me in Delhi. So try to filter what is important to you. Do not accept all the news. The best thing is, first of all, put all your phones. If you're using devices, there are do not disturb modules. After 11:30 at night to 7 in the morning, there should be no notification in your phone. Nothing will happen at night which cannot be addressed. Whosoever will need an emergency, they will call you. They will not text you. So first of all, give yourself a break from the world. You need to detach from your friends and everything for at least some while. As I told you, 30 minutes before you go to sleep and 30 minutes after you wake up, do not touch the phone. So first of all, you reduce the intake of negativity. Second thing is, we all have negative thoughts. Speak to somebody. Talk it out. Once you talk it out, the other person will help as a sponge. They will take away that from you.
Yeah.
And once your negative has gone out, there will be space for some positive. And distract yourself. Last month, I think we had such a bad time. There were days where you felt like, what is happening? The sky is going to fall down. This was the situation. I remember somebody gave me a academic talk. I wondered, what is this man thinking? People are dying, 30,000 cases every day, and he's giving me a talk. But when I started preparing, I realized for 2 days, I was not thinking of COVID. That was distraction. So find something which takes you away from the talk of COVID, death, life. Distraction is one big way of reducing negativity from yourself.
One last question, since we are running out of time. A small question from Gauri Bhardwaj of 6th A. I think I should take a question. She says, in this lockdown period for students, being happy means being in front of the screen, be it television, mobile, or computer. So how can we avoid this and stay happy and calm at the same time?
Dear child, this is $1 million question the whole world is looking for, because I think this screen time has not just spoiled the kids, it's for adults also.
Yeah.
Any one of us who gets hold of a phone will open the phone for something else, but end up sitting there for 20 minutes looking at random things. So
Lot many things. Yeah.
Yes. So first of all, see, it is self-discipline. Nobody can, give you norms for that. We all know that these are addictions. People get addictions to tobacco. People get addictions to alcohol. These are also addictions. We need to get rid of these addictions. So you yourself have to monitor. Your parents shouldn't be telling you. They also get irritated. See, I know as a parent, it's a constant tussle. It's a constant tussle. So there is no, golden answer to it, but you have to reform yourself. Happiness does not just come from phone. Happiness comes from so many things. You can do many more things as recreation. You've seen a YouTube video of making some craft. Stop the phone now. Now do it yourself. Just don't keep glued to watch the next video, and next video. So either tell somebody in your house that switch off the Wi-Fi at this particular time so that everybody is cut off. That is the best I can think of.
Yeah. So true. Thank you so much. So though we have many more questions, but I would now like to end my this webinar show, and I would request Principal Ma'am to give the vote of thanks and inspire us with her motivational words. Over to you, ma'am.
Dr. Kanika, once again for this wonderful talk. Many of these things, I think we need to continue to reinforce on ourselves. We may be knowing many of them, adults know many of them, but still what happens, they fall by the wayside. And we get caught into so many of activities which are actually not leading to any meaningful productivity. As you've rightly said, that you just pick up the mobile for just checking one message or one call, and suddenly you find yourself sucked into it, and it is not worth it. And at the same time could be utilized for something for growth and development. One thing, Dr. Kanika, which I really liked about your talk today is that after a very long time in this 1 year, I've heard somebody look at the brighter aspect of this very dull time. And I absolutely and 100% resonate with this idea that there is so much which we could have done earlier in life, but we never had time. We had all the ability, we had the interest, and we had the competence, but what we lacked was probably the inspiration and the time. And since now we had this time, those who tried to utilize it well, they actually emerged a winner because they learned too many things. And you were an example yourself that you've said that unlike many of the people who have become obese during this period, there are people like you and many of us who have tried to maintain ourselves because we have been disciplined in life. So which I keep telling to my students all the time, that if you could learn one golden word about your life, that is discipline. Everything will follow from discipline.
Very true.
Dr. Kanika, this is a wonderful opportunity once again to interact with you. And I'm sure that our students and their parents and families must have learned a lot from you. And we hope to seeing you sometime again so that we continue to hear from people like you who are into field of medicine and yet keep your optimism and hope so high. Thank you so much for being there.
Thank you. It was always a privilege. And I think I just pray to God that we get to, meet our kids in person and,
Yes.
really hope that they are able to have those happy smiles back by this coming year end at least.
Absolutely.
Very much. Yeah. That is the need of the day, actually. We really want our kids to be back in school and teachers back there personally teaching them.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the parents.
Thank you. Thank you.